How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Bert and Fonz. I'm Bert.
And I'm Fonz.
Bert and Fonz.
Today, there is a little something we need to talk about. Fonz and I have been talking about this a couple times, and we feel it's finally time to address the issue of these strange customs and rituals that we've observed from throughout the world.
We've been talking off and on about how all these stupid-ass feasts from Spain are adopted in the States, and they're the dumbest ones. So, for example, there's this party in the east of Spain called the Tomatina, in which a full town just grabs like a full harvest of tomatoes, and they just go into a wild tomato battle throughout the town, and they just like make the whole city red.
Like a giant food fight?
Yeah, it's like a snowball fight, but with tomatoes. Here's some images that we're going to show.
Wait.
This totally stupid ass custom is so admired in the United States that certain cities of the United States have actually adopted it and now are doing it too. You know?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and but I mean, can you find out? Like, there's some cities in the States that do this too. Did you know that?
No.
Right. So actually, why don't look up Tomatina in the States or something, or in the U.S. But so there's that. Then there's like the running of the bulls. Like, everybody's fascinated with that shit. You know?
Yeah.
And they're all into bullfighting, and then soccer. And that's not exclusive to Spain.
I think you mean football.
You're absolutely right. That's exactly what I mean.
Ooh.
But so soccer, that stupid ass game. So one of the advantages I have is I get off the plane, regardless of whether I'm coming back to the States or going back to Spain. I just get off the plane. I go, "You call this football?" And I piss everyone off, and it's really nice. But so
that's because they're not Chelsea fans.
So talking about football, right? Then that's not exclusively Spanish, as I was saying. That's also British. That's French. That's German, Italian. That's European, right? That's
right.
One of the stupidest bread and circus bullshit that exists over there. It's a circus. Like, one thing is liking soccer, and the other thing is this whole hula-baloo of like, our country is like way in debt, but we're going to get even more debt because we are hosting the World Cup, and we're doing all this horseshit. We're not going to get into detail with that. But my whole point is, it dawned on me one time when we were talking about this, Bert and I, that hick is universal. You know? Yeah, we're just a bunch of fucking stupid hicks, and we love shit. We don't focus on good cultural influence from this or that country. We focus on this stupid-ass, imbecile, tomato-throwing shit.
What? Okay.
Because we're a bunch of rednecks, and that is a universal trait. And let me just say one more thing. Like, what's really, really fascinating about this is that when you're back in your most lizard brain hickus mode, or like the people that are just hicks normally because that's what they've chosen to remain as, they think they're unique to their country and they're like ultra nationalists. They don't realize that they have brethren all over the world, sisters and brothers all over the world.
I'm about to say, you better correct yourself real quick.
Yeah, I was kind of too late already, but yeah. So hick is universal. You know, we're all a bunch of hicks.
Man, okay. Well, first of all,
it's like
I think this hits you in the core a little deep because you got very, very fired up about that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I did. I was
Nah,
I was so cool, dude.
But to that note, we have talked about this at length, and we have pulled up. I've done a little research. I've found some great examples that kind of demonstrate this throughout the world, and in some cases are actually world championships for some of these things.
So case in point, I just want you guys to notice that Bert did not jump on like what are beneficial cultural influences that cross-pollinate among different nations. He just went ahead and did all this research of like, what are the hickest things people do around the world?
I'm like, dude, it's entertainment, all right?
Yeah, it's universal. It's like I said, you know, so
everyone does dumb shit. I want to watch people do dumb shit.
Sure, I'm with you.
Okay.
But I mean, that still doesn't make me, I didn't say a lie.
Well, no.
You know, I mean,
no, you didn't.
I want to watch it too. But
technically you didn't. But I do want to watch that. And I found a video real quick. I don't know how much of this we might be able to use or not use. So we're just going to, I found a video on this Tomatillo thing. I'm sorry, the Tomatina.
Tomatina. It is fun. It's fucking dumb.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Like, dude, I've done that drunk without having an excuse. I don't need a fucking excuse to do that. Just
there are people literally swimming in what is like tomato paste that is just the refuse from everything being thrown. Wow.
But the best thing that it's showing is showing tourists from all over the world. So people come, they do pilgrimages to do this shit. And
literally people just covered in what is essentially like canned tomato paste.
And don't get me wrong, I completely understand unintelligent entertainment. Like, I practice it a lot myself.
I mean, when you're effectively
it's dumb.
People doing this, and you are seeing people in crowded streets swimming in tomato soup, essentially, as it is just collected in the streets from falling off of people's bodies and everything. That is that's asinine, and I'm sure a bunch of people would argue a huge waste of food.
Well, not only a huge waste of food, but it's like, how much municipal resources are you siphoning from to do the fucking cleanup later, to clean up all that shit? And again, I've trashed households with my friends, and I've done all that stuff, so I can't be a hypocrite about it. But it's not the most intelligent shit I've done. And then now you have all this waste going on, all this water. Did you see the images of the hose? There's people with hoses.
Oh yeah.
Like, so as
big
they're
old
getting
street hoses, just taking everything and cleaning it down. And
so they're turning people into gazpacho, and then at the same time they're cleaning them up in the process, which is as fucking stupid as eating when you're in the can, shitting it out. It's a waste.
Right.
And so
it's a huge waste.
I mean, I was going to say I'm not going to judge, but I am.
Right.
So anyway, what else you got?
Well, another one that
I can't wait.
Another one that I was going to bring up and talk about, but I feel like with you in particular, we could make this the entire episode, was about the running of the bulls, which you briefly touched on earlier.
Yeah,
I kind of want to talk about that one, but
we have I know that
episode of that. Shit we could go on about that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that one needs its own separate thing.
No, you're right. Yeah.
So we may do an episode of that at another point in time, but. That one's another good example, and then all of the other stuff just kind of gets associated with that, right?
Exactly. So let me say that there's not just the running of the bulls. There's like a ton of different bull celebration,
right,
in Spain. Some of them are very, very barbaric, and some of them have already been banned. And there's even like other stuff. So let me just mention this, and we'll just move on with your research. But I'll tell you about that medieval. There's this town in the north of Spain where they hang these live chickens upside down from a clothesline in the middle of Main Street. Listen, and they ride down horses. I told you about that. They run these horses, and they try to grab the heads of the chickens and pull them off. So they decapitate the live chicken, which of course stay flapping upside down. And then they're like, and the horse like, oh, look at this shit.
Chickens are not pull tabs. That's not how that works.
They are to these motherfuckers, and I think. Don't quote me on it. I'll look it up later because now I'm curious. But I think.
Hey, Fonz here with a quick sidebar. So it turns out this thing about hanging birds upside down and tearing their heads off while riding a horse is from Belgium and the Netherlands, although it's been known to happen in England and North America as recently as the 19th century. They were using live geese until the 1920s when that got banned and they started using dead ones. There's a small town in Spain called Guarrate where a guy on a horse will recite a poem and then proceed to slash a dead rooster hanging upside down from a string using a blunt sword. And now, back to the podcast.
Well, but I mean, you could also argue
that's so recent.
The fox hunt in Great Britain, that's barbaric. But it still happens. And it's like, it's part of our cultural tradition. Same thing with so we'll drop the bullfighting and the bull fiesta. So. But we will touch upon it on a full episode for this. Yeah.
Man, chicken thing's got me messed up now.
I know, it is.
I'm thinking about these little dangling chickens just hanging from a wire.
And the best part of it is like, and now I'm going to sound like an asshole, but I will, is that the expressions on the faces of the guys that are just like showing the trophy.
Yeah.
They look as dull as the horse they're riding on.
Really?
Like, to me, maybe I'm being biased when I'm watching that, but I just look, I'm like...
I'm about to say, there are some people you just have a low opinion of in general to begin with.
So that doesn't help your image of them. Totally, yeah. So anyway, let's see what you got.
Okay. So one of the things that I've learned in my research, and I've seen this a couple of times, so I wanted to start with this one because I feel like you may already be somewhat familiar with it.
Okay.
And that is... this thing that happens every year, and I believe it happens, let's see, where does this happen? So this happens in Britain every year, and it's a downhill cheese chasing competition where it's literally a super steep hill. Somebody rolls a wheel of cheese down the hill, and your goal is to chase it down there by any means.
What the fuck?
And try and get the wheel of cheese first at the bottom.
Is this like that cheese bowling thing that they got over in Prize Tap Room?
No, this is
they roll.
It's similar.
A wheel of cheese. It's like playing bocce ball almost.
Bocce ball, and you gotta like knock a feather over that's stuck in the ground.
Yeah. That's
no, this is way different. I actually have a video that I'm going to show you. Just in case we can't actually show the video, we'll be showing some images of this on the screen. For copyright reasons, we may not be able to show some of this stuff. But I'm going to show you, Fonz, the video of this thing happening right here. So
this isn't cheese rolling. This is people rolling. These guys are rolling.
They're rolling down the hill to try and chase the cheese.
Where's the cheese?
It's already rolling.
Oh, is that thing? Is it that thing there?
Yeah. So the goal is like they have these wheels of cheese.
Yeah.
And what you're supposed to do is.
Do you know how you pronounce that shit, by the way?
No.
Gloucester. Just look at that thing. It says Gloucester.
The length of that word?
Gloucestershire, and it's Gloucester. I swear.
Cooper's Hill.
Look at that.
Cooper's Hill is where this takes place. The cheese rolling championship. You saw the wheel of cheese going off over there.
So they're rolling in order to move faster, right? Is that what that
exactly.
is?
The goal is to be the first person to the bottom of the hill and claim this cheese.
Look at that guy. How can he not break his legs?
People have broken many limbs doing this.
Right.
Many people go to the hospital. You participate in this of your own accord, knowing that you will possibly sustain many injuries, more than likely injuries.
That's like a
possibly death
right there.
And so, I mean, if you land on your neck the wrong way, I haven't done much research into it, but I can imagine that that's probably an easy thing to happen here.
They probably would hide it too because they want to keep capitalizing on this event because there's a ton of people there.
There's a ton of people that want to watch this thing.
Nice. Wow. Interesting. And of course, it's an ancient.
It goes way, way back.
But I mean, okay, so now let me ask you, and again, I'm being the snark here.
Yeah.
But is this idiotic or what?
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? People literally throwing themselves down a hill to try and get a wheel of cheese. It would be different if you weren't very likely to sustain multiple contusions, broken limbs, lacerations, all kinds of stuff just to get this wheel of cheese.
It's awesome. It's super funny.
Oh my gosh. But it's asinine to think of just...
Are we going to put
Look
links?
at this.
Yeah. Are we going to put links to that shit?
Oh, we're going to... If we can't show the videos, we're putting links to all of them down below. So don't worry about that. So the next one I have is called the World Gurning Championships. And do you know what gurning is, first and foremost?
I was just going to ask you. No, I haven't.
So gurning is taking an old leather horse bridle, and you have to put it around your head, and then contort your face into the strangest, funniest shape that you possibly can. That is gurning. There is a whole world championship about putting a bridle around your neck and making dumb faces.
To the dumb face.
I have no idea.
That's awesome.
There is more research to this. More research I need to do.
Where do you find the sheep, man? It's fucking weird as fuck. Wow.
But check this out. So this is just a video of people practicing and trying to make the most ridiculous faces they possibly can.
With a horse bridle on.
Yeah.
I bet there has to be some fascinating story behind this. Now this shit actually could be genius. Like I might actually disagree that this does not qualify as hick and dumb. There might be something genius in this, you know? Look at that shit. Oh, it is cool.
Man, these people open to men and women of all ages from all over. The whole idea is that you're essentially framing your face with this horse bridle, essentially.
Yeah, but the fact that it's a horse, it kind of tells me that there's something behind this. There's something happening.
So if I had to wager a guess, the fact that you're trying to make the worst face possible and you're in a horse bridle goes way, way back to people being made fun of for being like farmers or being low-life
or being like beasts.
Exactly.
Yeah, to be more beast than human.
Exactly.
Right.
And so now this is like taking that, flipping it on its head and just like, let's make a celebration of it and try and see who can do it the worst.
I kind of have the hope that there's something really humorous behind that too, you know?
Right.
Because this is kind of funny.
Oh my gosh. This guy looks like like he got a butthole in his mouth.
Gurning. Is this British too?
I believe so.
Or is this like world? Because it says world.
It's a world championship, but I think it originated from somewhere in Britain.
This is funny. I actually think this is funny. I'll give this point.
So to Gern means to snarl like a dog, look savage, distort the contours of the face. It is reported to have originated from the mockery of the village idiot. Villagers would throw a horse collar over him and make him pull funny faces in exchange for a few pints of ale. However, much truth lies in the tale. Is questionable.
Okay, because if this is the true story, this is really a hick fest. This really qualifies.
Exactly.
Like making fun of the village idiot is one of the most hicks.
And unfortunately, what we know now is that the village idiot, more often than not, would have been people that actually have like mental instabilities. Or mental, it's like
that's
they're
why
not
this
all
makes
there.
this a total hick.
Exactly.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
That is just another prime example in the list of things that I have found from different things like this from all over the world. Another one that I found really interesting is the World Pea Shooting Championships.
Okay, so we've got 3 in the UK so far. Pea shooting. Literally shooting shooting peas. The World Pea Shooting Championships have been held in the Witcham in Cambridgeshire. Reported by, so we're looking at this one by ODN, but this is just a little clip, a little sample of the World Pea Shooting Championships and the contraptions that people will build and essentially use these peas like spitballs to try and hit targets off at a far distance. And it's kind of ingenious because I'm watching this now. The targets are made of clay so that the peas stick to them.
Exactly.
So that's kind of interesting that they came up with this shit.
But it like the contraptions they're using almost look like these crossbows.
Yeah.
With the way they have like these stability mounts that'll like sit like on their clavicles.
Yep. That is
It's like a mix between a dart gun and a crossbow.
So it's clear that these people spend at least a part of the year working on these little devices,
like fine tuning it.
Yeah.
Like I need to make sure the diameter on the inside of the tube is just so, and I need to make sure that, if the peas I'm using are going to be regulation size.
So I think that this one doesn't qualify as Hickfest.
Really?
Because there's ingenuity involved. I think it's popular. So there's nothing wrong with Village Fest and stuff like that. It's a game of skill,
right?
There's ingenuity. There's the Renaissance mind is at work,
right?
Sorry, I'm kind of like sounding kind of pedant here, but hey, pedantic.
No, I mean, I just wanted to find some interesting excuses of people doing dumb shit all over the world.
I think so far, I'm fascinated with all 3 of the things that you showed. Okay, but I believe this one not to be hick because there's a life enriching part of it.
That's fine.
Like if somebody becomes a fan of this, if a kid sees this when they're young, they might work at, trajectory and projectile physics and figure out, you know what I mean? I mean, there's...
Right, but you could also argue that somebody participating in the Gurning Championship could be working on their acting career and learning how to contort their muscles and their faces to be able to mute emotions anytime that they wanted to.
Sure. But that's a much bigger stretch.
It is a stretch, but I can make an argument for it.
And you cannot argue that there's any fucking culture out of plastering tomato on your buddies during a full day and then having to clean your talon.
It depends how much you like gazpacho.
Like a gazpacho. Well, that is not good gazpacho, let me tell you.
No, it's not.
Okay, so if you want good gazpacho, I'll make it for you any day, but that's not it.
Now, this one is less of a hick fest and more of just something I found super fascinating, but it's the World Beard and Mustache Championship that happens every single year. And it is these people who... When I first heard about this, I was like, okay, so is it like the longest, the most well-groomed? Well, it's kind of like that. But they also will do these completely ridiculous and huge, like avant-garde style designs with their mustache and facial hair. Let's take a little peek-see at some of the examples we have here. So... This guy looking like he's got a spider coming out of his face.
Well, this guy's funny.
Oh my goodness. And some of these guys they're looking at, like they have legitimate, just like it's a really long, well-groomed beard or mutton chops, or just like it's all about the facial hair, right? But there are some that are going these like completely extravagant, out of this world sort of looks and feels. I mean, this guy here, he looks like he just has like a freaking wind tunnel going through his face.
What I wonder is like some of these guys probably during the year. So this guy doesn't look like this every day. He just fixes that for the contest. Then the rest of the year, he's just got a ZT top beard.
Right,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? He just got a long ass beard.
Right.
But the guy that had like the mustache, these long mustache, that guy has a Fu Manchu that goes down to his belly button.
Oh, he must, because of how tall that went up over his head.
Either that or he's a crackpot that just like walks around like that all day. Which is, and
I mean, the worst I've seen in like actual public are like the guys who get like the little mustache wax out, and they'll do just like the little tips of the mustache and kind of curl it up like that, and like the little curly
the point is that takes time. So the guy that has to make
it takes a lot of
points,
time,
right? So the guy that makes his points stick out like this.
Yeah.
In order for him to do that every day, that's a huge investment of time.
Do you think he has like an apparatus
how many
that he like has to put his face into to like hold it up?
Now you mention it, I would think from puppeteering and from props and prop design that they have wires.
Oh, yeah, there's probably like something inside to help.
Because otherwise,
form.
like you just touch that and that thing comes down,
right?
Or it just crumbles. So they have to have something that's
unless it's put together with like super glue. Still, with the laws of physics, even super, like you just hit it and you completely unstabilize it. So now, it needs the guy that had backbone. Like, I could see easily doing that with like a curling iron and just like got some product in there and you set it and it has like the little curls that kind of surround his face and everything.
Yeah, it says like Vaseline or grease or whatever it is they put on.
Probably just wax, but
wax. You're right, wax and these similar products that you use for hair, fix.
In fact, it would make a lot more sense if it was a curling iron with wax, because the curling iron would heat the wax up and make it a little more liquid, and then as it firmed up into the shape from cooling down, you just kind of hold it.
But I mean, it's a ton of work. It's a ton of.
Oh my gosh, it is.
So I can't. My question is like, what do they do for regular life? Because I can't imagine them doing that every day. That has to be exhausting.
I imagine some of them probably. I mean, depends on the examples. Like I'm sure the guy that we saw that looked like he had a big old Nike swoosh going through his face, he probably does not do that.
He's got his ZZ Top thing during the day. And the same, the dude with the mustache this long, like super spike. Imagine we showed a picture. The guy had the spike. That guy,
but these
cannot do that every day.
So I mean, these spikes going over the top of his head
because having a little curl like this, sure, you can do that,
right?
And I know people that do that, and they actually go to work like that. Before it became a thing, Greg Norton of Husker Du fame, the bass player of the Husker Du in the '80s, Michael Mann, he used to have that thing.
It's true.
Which was cool because that contrasted with a punk look completely, and he was in a punk band, so that was kind of cool,
Right.
And he did that every day.
So this next one I found is less of... I'm trying to think of how to describe this. It's less of a Hickfest and more of just something so bizarre and creative that I just had to make sure I brought this to the table. So it was just... When I was reading about this, and first of all, I don't know how some of these things are possible that they do, but this is the world of extreme ironing.
So the name in and of itself is intriguing.
It's exactly what I thought. I went, what do you mean by extreme ironing? Well, extreme ironing has become a nationally recognized sporting event.
Where?
Or I should say worldwide recognized sporting event, not nationally. Where people will go out and iron like you would expect, ironing a shirt, just trying to get all the creases and wrinkles out, but doing it while they're entertaining an activity or doing an activity that is extreme or hardcore. Different examples of that could include doing ironing while you're canoeing, ironing while you're biking down the street. One example was a team of people scuba diving and ironing underwater.
So how do you judge this? Like, is it the quality of the ironing clothes item, or just the fact that you can just keep doing it?
I don't know. I think I'm pretty sure.
Because if there's contests, are they contests about this? Did you say that? I didn't catch that.
There are contests about this. Like, there are people that get together and will perform these acts of extreme ironing against each other.
So what's the judge? So what is the judgment?
So from what I can tell, the judging is, one, how well you can perform the act while the extreme thing is going on.
So in other words, if you're underwater, do you come up with a folded shirt?
Yeah, pretty much. And then if there's like, questions about that, it's how well of an ironing job did you do?
That's what I mean.
Also.
Yeah.
So that's like the next tier.
Because how can you come up with a press shirt underwater?
2, how good is it?
Right. How do you come up with the creases?
I don't fucking know. That's the thing.
I thought you did some research on this shit.
I did research. I found the things to look at.
Hit it. So this is a guy up on a tree.
Yeah, so there's one
with
here.
An ironing board.
Yeah.
He seems to be ironing what looks like a safety. Here, go back. It looks like one of those safety vests for a canoe. Like, what's that orange thing that he's ironing?
Either that or it's just an orange shirt.
Yeah. Wow.
Maybe it's a safety vest for a street worker.
Yeah. Okay.
Somebody that actually has business being up in a tree like that.
Maybe it's really a safety like swim vest, and he's cheating because that comes up
because it's the styrofoam thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not all of them are done underwater, by the way.
Right.
Like this guy is just trying to iron on top of his roof. Like
one is like very
mundane.
The fear of height, you can. What does it say? It's super funny.
Well, once you master the fear of height, you can try some other as the roof of your house.
Some other places, such as the roof of your house. Okay, yeah. Some other elevated places. Okay.
Yeah. So once you master the fear of height, you can try some other elevated places, such as the roof of your house. We got a picture here now. So this person is trying to iron whilst on top of a moving vehicle, hauling ass in the middle of a desert.
So the desert idea is kind of smart. Because
of the heat already?
No, because if you do this in the middle of a city during rush hour, you're about to have an accident and or be pulled over.
Well, that's true.
So
I mean, just for the sake of doing this, yeah, obviously, being out where nobody cares,
right,
is going to be the good one to go with, right?
Yep. Because otherwise, I can see the cops taking a keen interest in this activity.
Now, from your perspective, what do you think would have been the origin of how this even got started?
Dude, you got me there. I got nothing.
I think it's because ironing is typically such a mundane, boring task that somebody was like, what if we took this and cranked it to 11 and just did it? And it caught on. Like, people saw it and they're like, I'm going to do that shit too.
A lot of these seem to me like they would originate in some bar bitching fest.
What?
Like,
tell me more about that.
Like, motherfucker, can I iron, motherfucker? I can iron with my eyes closed on a roof while in a car. Prove it. Tomorrow at 6 a.m. I mean, that's kind of how these kind of things come about, right?
I could totally see that being the origin story, too.
Because otherwise, why the hell would you do... Here, show me some more, because these are interesting. These are fascinating. Fuck. Yeah, just hit it there. So, like... Or somebody was just... coming up with a new Dr. Seuss story, like I can iron on a boat, I can iron with a goat. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's very plausible.
That's what this shit is. I can arrow in a canoe, I can iron, so can you. You know what I mean?
I feel like we need to write this book now.
Yeah.
Copyright. Copyright TM.
Extreme Ironing by Dr. Seuss. Okay, this one's good.
Oh, this one's in the middle of the city. This guy is just hanging out the back of a taxi. This is the kind of service I would need if I was in downtown, like Manhattan or something. I was running late for a meeting, and I'm like, I don't got time to get a good shirt. This guy's just hanging off the back of the taxi, and I'm like, take me to the office. That guy can iron my shirt while we do it. Hopefully it'll be crisp and pressed by the time that I get to the office.
Kind of reminds me of the Mailman of Jacques Tati. We'll talk about that filmmaker one day. French filmmaker from the 60s, really funny.
Okay.
There's a French mailman who watches a movie, a documentary on how Americans do the mail. And they're like so efficient and everything is so fast. So he decides to do the same thing too. So he goes on his bike.
Yeah.
And he grabs like the tail of a truck So he's in the bike, and he grabs onto the tail of the truck, and he starts stamping his letters on the tail of the truck while he's like, tethered to the truck, and then he just like lets go. He says, go like the Americans, and he salutes the rest of the people in the town. That's a really good. We should talk about that guy at one point.
We should.
Okay, wow, nice.
Yeah. First of all, I'm questioning how he even got an ironing board up there, and how did he run? Does he have like a generator or something to run the iron?
I think he's not plugged in. I think he's doing playback.
Well, I mean, in order to make this legitimate, you have to actually iron.
Yeah,
so it has to be a hot iron, right?
I think some of these guys are just taking a shot.
Man, no. I mean, this is completely 100% legitimate. There's no questions as to whether or not this would be staged.
I see nothing.
In any way, shape, or form.
Right. It looks great, though. I like it.
I mean, to be fair, on the top of this rock, it kind of looks like there's a little bit of cabling hanging off right there.
This, to me, is not so much Hickfest because I think this has like very sharp wits attached to it.
To be fair, I called this out as not being Hickfest right off the bat.
Yeah,
I just thought this was interesting as hell.
I think this is awesome.
We're trying to do it while skydiving. How does he keep the arms down? The arms of the shirt.
He's not really skydiving. Is he skydiving?
Or is he just on a platform, like hanging out somewhere?
I think he's on a platform. Look, these are rocks. He's got his feet on these.
Oh yeah, this is the top of a mountain.
Yeah, he's just doing.
It's just the very top of a mountain. But I could see a guy.
Okay,
oh my god, doing it on a tightrope. Nope. No.
What is this called? This is this is called something else. What's it called?
Other than a tightrope?
It's not a tightrope. The tightrope is what you do in a circus when you like walk on top of it.
Well, I mean, it's also a rope bridge.
Yeah, but no, when you do that. There's
zip line?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's a word for it. Anyway.
I mean, this could also be a zip line that he's hanging from.
We can show a picture of this, right?
Oh, yeah, we can show a picture. I mean, we're showing it right now. But it's just this guy hanging out between, like, two sides of a canyon, essentially, which looks like actually out in the Mojave Desert.
He is in motion. He's not hanging there. If I know how this works, he has to be going in one direction or the other, right? He can't just stop. Oh, maybe he can.
Well, I'm sure he could, and then a buddy just like throws him a line and reels him in.
Something, yeah.
Because I don't know if you could actually like do it while you were spinning it. I've done zip lines before. If you're not like holding yourself in place, you're spinning a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like
That's interesting.
That would mess with it a lot. Okay, there we go. I got the skydiving one. Yeah.
So now you got the answer to your question. You need another two motherfuckers.
You need people to hold the shirt down so you can actually iron it.
Here, see how he's not plugged? So there's like some wireless like irons, clearly.
I'm sure there are.
Yeah. This other guy that's doing it underwater.
Unless he's got a jetpack, or like a battery pack attached to him as well.
No.
He's Iron Man.
Yeah, so the next one, the one that you just showed. Because that one.
So this is the one I was talking about where it's like people scuba diving and doing it under the water.
Yeah. Like, where is he plugged? Come on.
Obviously in the surface.
No, he's not. Look at the cable.
Yeah, the cable goes.
He's just plugged to a little eel that he's got there. I mean, he's stuck
Come here, little electric eel.
Up his ass, and now he's getting all the juice to do the whole ironing thing on that shirt that's going to come up like iron and starch when it gets out of the water. So that's remarkable.
I can't get the image of some guy just snagging a little eel and like, come here, I gotta iron my shirt. Just plugging it right in. To be fair, he would never have to worry about running out of water in that iron.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly an impressive shot. Okay, here's another one.
With a shark.
There's a shark going behind him, too. It's a nurse shark, to be fair.
Even if it were a white shark, that shark would be going like, I want nothing to do with that.
There's a whole team of people. There's 25 people doing this right now. It's an ironing underwater party.
Hi, I'm the world champion of extreme ironing.
First of all, I want to call out, who the hell has an ironing party in general?
I think something with a very sharp sense of humor. For real. Who the fuck would do this?
Somebody with a steamy personality.
Yes.
Not even this, not even underwater, but just like an ironing party. Have you ever heard of an ironing party?
No.
Who would do that?
But who's heard of extreme ironing anyway?
Well, you have now.
What about extreme irony?
I have that happen to me on a regular basis. I don't need that.
What's this dude doing?
Oh, this guy's doing it in the tux in Antarctica.
Nice.
Wow. Now, if only there was a penguin in this shot to like really seal the deal, then I would believe it. That could be anywhere. Got a couple of guys doing this out in the middle of the desert again, only without the vehicle. This one's less impressive.
No, I love it. There's another guy with a vacuum cleaner vacuuming the desert.
Well, you got to clean that sand, man.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I love that.
Taking mundane tasks to the next level.
These look like people from like the Paris-Dakar or something.
Oh, here you go. Here's a team of people trying to do it whilst doing a bike race. Here's a couple of people trying to do ironing while snowboarding down a ski slope.
Actually, no. There's one person snowboarding and doing ironing, and then there's a bunch of. She's got an escort.
She got like a posse, surrounding her
of snowboarders behind or on the side.
Yo, back up off her. She's ironing my shirt for later. We're going on a date.
Yeah, that is remarkable. So there's two different boards on this shot.
Yeah, you're right. There are two different boards. There's a board on a board. It's boardception going on right now.
Yep. And I have a feeling that she's actually not on the board. She's on some kind of rug that's being pulled by it.
Well, here's the thing. Do you think that she is actually on skis and then they have like a board going over that the ironing board's sitting on?
So like with water skiing, but she's on a rug that's being pulled by a jet ski or some kind of thing.
You mean like the snowmobiles?
Yeah, a snowmobile, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's a snowmobile pulling a rug. She's on top of the rug with the whole setup.
Right.
And she has the snowboarders on the sides to convey this is what she's supposed to do. But you don't have enough space to do that on a snowboard.
No, not really.
Okay.
Speaking of water skiing. There's water skiing, which is impressive in itself because I've tried water skiing exactly once. Keeping your balance on that was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
And just grabbing that, like, for all we know, that might have lasted 3 seconds.
That's true. Long enough to get the shot.
Yeah. And then, boom.
Because that's all I needed was long enough to get this shot of him.
Right. What I would have done with this is shoot this at 120 frames per second.
Yeah.
And the 2 microseconds that he's on
do
the
the slow-mo.
Yeah, you just get that image and snap it. And you
got him.
Yep.
So this is a gymnast trying to do the very impressive, very difficult dual-handed ironing techniques while also balancing on a board.
Yeah.
That's
so very clearly this is about getting the shot.
Right.
It's not really about getting the crease.
Right.
But
so perhaps the competition is
which is more absurd.
More absurd. Horseback riding and doing it. That is.
I bet you they tried to do one of those jumps and they just couldn't get the shot of that.
Probably.
Because look at all those jumps in the background. Okay.
This one, I don't have anything to say about this.
This one would be really funny if we hadn't seen all the other ones first.
I guess that's true. This is not really extreme.
Well, actually, no, because I think what she's breastfeeding the calf.
Yeah.
So do you see that? So she's ironing while the calf is drinking milk from that little bucket that she's putting. So.
But that doesn't seem as extreme as trying to do it on top of a moving vehicle through the desert. That must have been
one of the first ones. I think.
I agree.
In the middle of it, it's kind of like lukewarm.
Now, however, I will give big props to these people here. A group of them on paddle boards trying to iron, because keeping your balance on a paddle board, that's a feat of strength all on its own.
Yeah. I mean, the champ still is to me the water skier though.
The water skier, yeah.
That must have been like a 2-second shot. Seriously, that must have been a frame in a sequence.
Right.
Okay.
Oh,
here we go.
In a deep cave.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty extreme.
I'm trying to remember.
A spelunking version of this.
Right.
The Hastings Half Marathon.
So this guy ran, ironed the shirt, and kept running. In Hastings.
With some competitor wearing an ironing board and pressing garments on the way. So people were wearing these things and running with them.
Right.
And doing it along the way.
In Hastings, the historical seat of Harold Godwinson's defeat, now is famous for something entirely different. Look at this dude.
They got this person who is ironing on a trampoline, and I can only hope that they are actually bouncing and doing all of it as well when they are trying to iron.
I don't know. The shirt would be moving in a different way if that were the case.
That's true, which makes it more difficult.
All right, what else you got?
So that was extreme ironing. Now this is one from right down south, right in the old backyard here. This one is called Punkin Chunkin. This is near Bridgeville, Delaware.
They're using like catapults, like medieval catapults.
Oh, yeah. So the whole thing is that you've got all these people trying to build these different catapults and contraptions to try and hurl a pumpkin the farthest.
Okay.
That is the whole goal of Punkin Chunkin. It's a world championship, man. People come here from all over the world to try and compete in this thing.
A chunk, so use a trebuchet of elaborate construction to chunk a pumpkin.
Yes.
And then doesn't the pumpkin like end up squashed in smithereens like happened?
Oh, it explodes. It goes all over the place.
But do they know then where you hit? Like, is it?
I mean, yeah, there's cameras out there like surveying the field.
Look at these motherfuckers. Trebuchet. Used to. I just said it.
Yeah.
They have all these little nice. Well, I guess it's safer to throw.
Yeah, they got
a
the
pumpkin
youth division and everything.
than to throw an actual rock that could fall on.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's still going to hurt like a sumbitch if you get hit by that thing.
Yeah,
but,
it could kill you.
It could totally kill you. You get beamed by that thing, you're not getting up. But again, this is one of those things where it's like promoting different types of ingenuity and engineering in this case to try and create a contraption that the counterbalance can actually get it to sling with the centrifugal force of doing everything.
So I don't think it's a Hickfest either. I think it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure people here would think of it as a Hickfest because when they think hick, they think something a little different than what you seem to be associating it to.
Oh, yeah.
Where like when they think hick, they think like a redneck sort of thing.
Right, but I'm talking about because you can be a redneck and be a very intelligent person.
Oh, for sure.
I'm talking about. I guess when I'm using hick, what I'm saying, and this is a shortcut translation, I'm just saying ignorant.
Again, these for many people here would still be synonymous.
An ignorant cannot build one of those contraptions.
No, but participation in these things is usually frowned upon by people of higher stature.
Right, but that's their ignorance.
You are correct, sir, because ain't nothing wrong with Punkin Chunkin. It is amazing.
There is a discipline of physics entirely centered on projectile trajectory.
Oh, absolutely.
And somebody that builds one of these guys needs to be very hip to that. So we're talking about science here, my man.
We're talking, science and engineering.
Right, and engineering, exactly. So that's not hick to me. Some people have to go years to college to figure out how to be an engineer.
Oh yeah.
So
in fact, there are like MIT will usually compete in something like this too, where it's just like the different types of contraptions where they could try and make these things the most engineered that they possibly can be to sometimes a degree of over engineering. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. But I think that's like this too. Like, you take something to an extreme just to be able to practice it,
right,
and to have fun with it. I think that's cool.
Oh my God! Here's the next level, which is air cannons, which are loaded up on the back of trucks. Could you imagine? Look at the size of the tank on this thing.
I know. And I can see there's flags, so there's not just the American flag. There's like a bunch of.
Well, yeah, it's a worldwide competition.
Wow! So this is like all compressed air guns, right? Just shooting.
Oh, this is a potato gun on steroids.
Yeah.
Times 10.
That is awesome.
I
Wow.
mean, could you imagine?
I don't even see the pumpkin. I just
Yeah, I kind of wish they would show us some of the pumpkins like landing.
Yeah.
I'd like showing the explosions and everything.
Yeah,
because that would be interesting.
We'll put links on this because I don't know what we're going to be able to use more.
Right.
Yeah, but that's awesome. Okay, what else you got?
Well, here's an interesting one. There's a whole competition that I found. That's participated by people all over the world, but the one that I found is from a man in China participating in the bee wearing championship and record for how many bees you are wearing on your body as a beekeeper.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, something I don't think I would ever do in my entire life. I've seen people do like bee beards before or stuff like that, but I don't think I could ever be covered literally in bees.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm thinking, what could, this guy just having a cigarette while he's doing it too to keep calm. Like, don't freak out, don't freak out.
Yeah.
But holy crap, look at this. Guy looks like Sasquatch. If Sasquatch was covered in bees.
I think the cigarette is to keep them away from his mouth.
Probably.
So they can have a thing to breathe or something. I don't know. I'm just
the cigarette is his air filter.
I'm guessing. Yeah. Yeah. That is awesome. Yeah. Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
And he must get stung by something.
How many stings do you think he got from doing that?
They're kind of like, they're already kind of like, their immune system is built.
Right.
You know, because they've gotten stung all over their lives. And this also to me is kind of out of Hickfest, because if you work with bees regular, at some point you got to get competitive about this kind of thing, and then you want to compare notes with someone else.
So what I'm noticing is that some of the examples that I found here today were not necessarily Hickfest. It was more of
crazy ass.
This thing would typically on its own just be a boring thing. How can we make it something twice as extreme and like just really bring other things to it?
So I think we're looking at three different types here, very distinct types.
So not just like the ingenuity and like the hick, the ignorant thing.
No, so let me explain. So, and granted that we're using hick in a loosey way. This is Hickfest is something we came up with.
Because obviously you and I have two different sort of interpretations of what that word means on a regular basis.
Well, let's see if we agree at the end of this. Well, let me explain.
Right.
So, okay, so to me, there's three things we're looking at here. So on the one side, there's like the complete stupid bonehead celebration. Yes. And that would be the Tomato Fest in Spain would be one of them. To me, the cheese wheel chasing one is really stupid.
What about the Gurning?
Because you're just running. Let's put that one aside for a second. Then there's the ingenuity thing and the skill. Right. So the bee thing would be a part of a skill. It's not exactly ingenuity.
Well, that's true. It's like the art of like keeping the bees calm enough while doing all of this, and
so it comes from some kind of craft or some kind of job or some kind of profession that then during perfection you can get to this extreme skill set of the black belt of
the black belt to be wearing.
Right. Yeah. It's the sensei of
Coincidentally, his belt was made out of black bees.
Okay, and now so here's the thing. So I think that's the key differentiator. Is there a master to this or not? So in other words, it's really stupid to be a tomato throwing master or a cheese chasing.
Look, there are you hush your mouth. There are masters of people rolling down those hills.
Oh yeah. I know, but it's idiotic because to what end, right?
Right. You get a little bit of money and you get some cheese.
And that takes us to the third category.
Which is?
Having asked the question like, to what end?
Right.
Then there's humor. And so now this is debatable because some people can say, well, the tomato thing is also humorous. Okay, so we'll get there.
Right.
We'll get there. So to me, extreme ironing is really fucking funny. Okay, it's really funny.
It is really funny.
It is so stupid. And Gurning kind of is too.
Well, the only thing I have against the Gurning thing, it's like it is steeped in tradition, but where it came from, or at least the supposed history.
Yeah. And then it's a Hickfest because of that. Because if it really is rooted in making fun of the village idiot,
right?
Making fun of the village idiot is a way to project that you are a hick.
Right.
So making fun of the village idiot is the dumbest, most unhuman way of projecting in somebody else the fault that like, this guy's dumber than me, so I'm smart.
Right.
Which is the epitome of not being smart. Is to be looking at somebody, to put somebody down so you feel higher instead of you having the balls to go higher. You know, you just stay where you are and you make somebody lower. Right. That's really dumb. So in that, I completely agree with you. That would be a Hickfest. I just thought the humor was like so ridiculous that I found it funny. And you could argue that with any real Hickfest. So like the wheel chasing, the cheese wheel chasing, that's really funny.
Right.
And so is the Tomato Fest, really. If you look at all of those, it's funny. There's some that are barbaric, and we'll go into that with the bull stuff in Spain. And
that's a whole different type of thing, though.
And the chicken tearing thing.
That chicken one, I'm gonna have nightmares about that.
So there's idiotic that goes from humorous to barbaric. To it's not really. If you think this is funny, there's something wrong with you. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's the skill, and then there's just really the funny. Like I said, the extreme ironing is is intelligent humor. I think.
Well, I mean, coming up with those
so
scenarios
dumb.
where
Exactly.
you're like, "What? Okay,
Yeah.
where the hell could I take this now?" There are people scuba diving. There's been people, skydiving. There's people doing all this type of stuff. You know what I haven't seen? Somebody extreme ironing on the side of a volcano. Next to molten lava.
Guess who's going to be competing on Extreme Ironing 2020? We got some ideas, guys.
Maybe.
Well, maybe we don't have to do a volcano. We can do something else.
I'm just saying. I'm just spitballing ideas like volcano. I haven't seen the back of a aircraft carrier. I think would also be good, especially if you're trying to guide planes in on an aircraft carrier as they're landing. You're just like, hold on, guys, I'm just pressing my uniform out here.
There's a ski jump slope not far away from here.
That's also true. That is also true.
Can you imagine just taking off with that with your ironing board? And they say, guess where I have the iron plugs, Rob?
You bring an eel with you?
Yeah.
I got an eel in a jar and I just plug it in.
It's in my backpack. But yeah, so yeah, we could try a bunch of things. I think we should take it seriously. We should consider seriously presenting our candidacy to
I tend
one
to
such event.
not take things seriously.
All right, well, we could do it not seriously, but I think we should present our candidacy to one such event.
True. We definitely could.
So I thought that, I think there was that. Did you see that distinction too, or did you think it was
I did. So the more that you brought it up, the more it made sense to me throughout this, where I was like, oh, okay. So at first it was like we just had different distinction of what is considered hick. And I think that's because I grew up in an area where like people from the South typically are considered like the way that I've heard it referenced are like people from the South are all hicks and stuff because my family's all from Texas. And so I got a lot of that commentary growing up.
Which is also a hick statement in and of itself right there.
I agree. But like in the sense that hick just being used synonymous with like, that's an ignorant statement right there. It's like,
right.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're going to say it like that, then yeah, absolutely. But when I think hick, I think redneck. I don't think necessarily somebody that's completely ignorant. Mm-hmm. I just think somebody that's like, oh yeah, they're just doing a dumb thing or they're saying something stupid.
Right.
But you're right. It's more about in the act of the statement that is being ignorant.
Right. And I think, what you say is not wrong. I think we all think base at that level that you're saying. But if you start to really analyze it, you go like, what is really stupid? Because you could argue we're all stupid, and we're all stupid in some things and really intelligent in other things. And if you don't know that, you're a dumbass. But we're all like smart at some things.
But tell the people how you really feel.
Yeah. And we're smart at some things, we're dumb at others. We're all hicks. You can argue that we're all hicks. And if you don't know that, you are an ignorant,
Right.
And yes. so that if you question that, if you go, you can be hick in this area, but more sophisticated than this.
Yeah.
You can be more ignorant in this, but you know more about these other things.
Yeah.
And if you analyze these things, what you learn about these things is what I'm learning about it right now as I speak to you about this and try to justify my reactions to it is it useless? Yes, no. And if the answer is yes, is it funny?
Right.
And then if the answer is yes, then does it hurt anybody? And if the answer is no, then it's cool. That's kind of where I'm headed right now.
It's a nice little flow chart you just kind of like broke out there.
One day we'll talk about what we do for a living. But that's kind of what I thought. So this helped me think of that.
Right. Right.
So that was cool. I
feel like we learned a little bit about each other today.
I knew everything about you already before we started, but you might have learned something. You're welcome.
You know about these knife hands?
No.
You didn't know everything about me.
But no, this is really good research. Like, where did you get other stuff that you kind of discarded that you said, this doesn't qualify?
Yeah, I did. And I feel like if people like hearing about this stuff enough, we could do a whole nother episode on this probably, and give a bunch of other examples that I found from other places in the world too. Mm-hmm. There's a couple from South America, from Brazil and Argentina. There's two of them that I found that are in South Africa, which is a really interesting thing.
Can I ask why you didn't include one of these?
Just for the
Just
sake of time.
curious.
Just for the sake of time. I just wanted to
I know,
cover
but-
off on
but what-
certain ones.
I was curious, because now I'm curious. Obviously, now I want to do this next episode now, because I want to know what it is. You know, I'm just intrigued. I thought this was really fun. Actually.
No, I just picked them because I just thought they looked interesting. I got a whole list, and basically I took like the first, like however many we did, and just said these are the ones we're doing, and we'll cover off on another ones later.
Okay.
So again, if anyone's interested, like if you guys liked this episode, if you guys commented down below and said how much you enjoyed this episode and want us to do another one, let us know, and maybe we'll do a part 2.
If people in fact want to see more of this shit,
Right.
we could actually ask them like hick or not hick, or like, do you think this?
Ooh, I like that.
You know what I mean? Is this
Next
more
episode,
skillful? Is
hick
this
or not
humorous?
hick?
Is this barbaric? And we'll just come up with gradations of hick. We can come up with a hick scale or something.
Ooh, we'll make it hick or sick.
The hick or sick. Oh,
That's sick, bro.
fuck! I like that. I like that. Awesome. Let's do that.
Next time, hick or sick.
Yep. Cool. So this was fun.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to let us know down below, and especially if you want to see a part 2. And don't forget, until next time,
Stay out of prison.
and walk in the shade.